Hello, this is Afjal. In this video, I'll show you how to use drag and drop to reorder a list like this in React.js. So I've already created the boilerplate code, bootstrapped a project using create React app and put some HTML and styled component to render this view. Let's see the code for this. First of all, we have some data, array named list, and there is a list object. We have a get list function to get either this list or something from local storage. And when we reorder the list, we also have a function to save the list into the local storage. So if the local storage item, the local storage key, the list exists, so it will read from there. Otherwise, it will return this default list. That's our data object. This is our app. Here we get the list from getList method of this object. After getting the list, we map over the list to render out each element. Each element has a drag handle and just a text. This is the drag handle and this is the text. Also, we have applied some CSS, of course. Now what we want is we want to reorder this list by dragging this handle. To accomplish this, we'll use a library called React-Beautiful-DND. So here under API, you see they have certain levels or layers. First is the drag drop context. So your entire drag drop area will be under this context. Inside each context, you can have one or more droppable context where you can drop the items. And inside each droppable, you can have some draggable items, the items you'll actually move. So let's go to this link. Drag drop context, basic usage. It says you have to import this. Let's do that. We want this list to be inside the drag drop context, so let's wrap it around this container. Well, now we have the context. This also has some functions, some event handlers actually. In this example, I just need this one. When the drag is end, I want to do something. What we initially want to do, we want to see what props it passes. And console log props. Okay, context is done. Now we need to define a droppable area. In this example, we'll only have one because we are not moving between different droppable areas. We're just rearranging draggable items inside one droppable area. So here you can see how we can import and define a droppable area. Okay, let's go back to the list. We want, for example, this item to be dropped here, but not here. So the entire box is not droppable area. Only this part is. So let's define that. So not the header, just the list. And we need to wrap it around this list. Let's do with a simple div. Now we need droppable. the application broke because children is not a function. The droppable component expects that its children will be a function that it can call with these two parameters, and that returns one React component. That's it. So let's define that function. So droppable will have this function that will return our component. Here's our component. What are these provided in a snapshot? So to make it happen, the drag drop, we need to put some reference, some styles, and more things into our components so that the library can enable those features. So provided is what library provides, like reference, styles, things like that. Snapshot is a kind of a state of that element at some point, like if you're dragging them, something like that. So what do we need? So we need a provided in a ref. With this ref, it will find this element in the DOM. So it's kind of outside React, because to make drag drop real time, you cannot depend on React's re-render. We'll have to do it directly on the DOM, and this library does it for us, but we need to provide the ref. Also, since we may have multiple droppable inside one context, they must have some unique ID so that the library can distinguish. In our case, we only have one. Let's put that here. You can put any unique ID here. Since we only have one, anything will be unique. Style for droppable area, this area. Do we want to make it a different color when we drag, or give it some kind of style while dragging, depending on the state? For now, we don't. And this line is important, like it provided us with a ref. We passed it here, but it will provide us some more props that we need to pass as well. Actually, since we are not using the state to do anything here, let's just replace it with an underscore just to make it clear. We are not using that. So our droppable area is done. We can drop things here, but we cannot drag it yet. Let's do the draggable. Draggable is similar. Let's import draggable. Okay, here each of the list item should be draggable. So let's wrap it with draggable component. Now, yeah, since it's a loop, React will ask for a key. So let's provide that. Yeah, each item that we get as an ID, unique ID, so I'm providing that as a key. Also, I'll provide that as a draggable ID. Prepend draggable, and then append that item.id. Okay, now we have a unique draggable ID and unique key. This one to satisfy React, this one to satisfy this draggable API. And it also wants us to pass an index. Index. If we map over an item, we get the index in the second parameter of this map function. Let's pass that. Now we have it, the draggable component. The draggable component expects similar things like this droppable. It expects a function like this. provided a snapshot. And this function will return the item that we will drag. And for the top item, we will pass the ref. Anything else? Yep. Just like we passed droppable props here with the ref, we'll also pass droppable props, draggable props here. Now these items should be draggable, right? Not exactly. We need one more thing. We need drag handle props. We'll put it on the element that we want to become the handle of the drag. So if we want to drag by using this icon, we'll put it here. If we want to drag by using this text, we can put it here. Or we can put it in a wrapper of this component, these two, so that we can drag anywhere. Drag by handling any of this. In this example, we'll do it here. Now it has some additional props and styles. One of the style is like changing the cursor to like grab, and yeah, we can drag it now and drop it in places, but it goes to the origin position because the list re-renders, and we are not saving the reordered list. And there's a minor issue here. See, when I drag one out, it's removed, so the height of the container is calculated like less than what we require because one item is removed. To solve this problem, we can put a placeholder. So when we are dragging, the library will put a placeholder item at the bottom just to increase the height. So after iterating the list, we'll add one special item. It's provided dot placeholder. Now the problem is gone. So we can drag and drop. One more thing I would like to do is when dragging, I want it to have like a box shadow or something so that it's more obvious which area is moving. So how can we do that? We have to tap into this snapshot to get the status if it's dragging, and put some additional style. So box shadow will depend on snapshot.is dragging over. Is dragging or is dragging over? Okay, if it's dragging, we want some 0.01 again. One is too much, 0.4. Color could be 666. If it's not dragging, then no. Okay, now it's not working. Just some problem. The problem is actually here it's putting some style. We are overwriting that style with ours. So the other style, like while we move it, it puts some transform to move it around with our handle. So that part is being removed by our style. So we need to grab the original style from here. And then override only the box shadow part if there is any, or just edit. Nice. Now we can move things around, but it's not persisting because it's going back to the original list. What we're getting here, get list. So we are visually rearranging them. When we drop, it keeps there for a moment, the library, and then re-renders this list. While re-rendering, it goes back to the original array. So we need to just change the position of the item in the array. And the place to do that is on drag end. So when the drag is ending or has ended, we want to update the list and save the list. So just to check what we're getting here, I'm console logging this. So when I drop something, I get 2 parameters here. First one is this object, second one is some kind of function. I think we just need the first one. So instead of spreading, we'll get the first one. What is it doing? It's let's call it param. Now it's getting an object. This object gives you draggable ID, the item we were dragging, the destination, and the source. In destination, it says in which droppable area you are putting it. In our case, we have only one, so we can ignore it for now. We don't need to worry about that. We just need to know the index. So in this case, the destination index is 3, and the source index is 1. So we are trying to move an item from index 1 to index 3. So let's grab these values, 3 and 1. Source index, param.source.index. Destination index, params.destination index. That's what we need from this param. Okay, now we have index. We need to do some array manipulation. We want to manipulate this array, move item from this index to this index. This is a tricky one. We'll do it using the splice method. If you don't know the splice method, it lets you cut out some part of an array and at the same time put something in that place. We want to put something in destination and cut out something from source. So let's do the destination part first. In destination index, we want to cut out 0 item and put something there. Destination index, we want to cut out 0 index because we want to insert the item that we cut from source index. What do we want to do in source index? We want to, in the source index, we want to cut out 1 item. We don't want to insert anything, so let's ignore the third parameter. But when we cut out something with splice returns us an array of the cutout item. So if there were 2 items, it will give us an array of 2. Now we have only 1 item, it will give us an array of 1. And we don't want that array to be inserted, we want just the item to be inserted. So let's grab the first item of that array. That's it. The list is updated. It's staying in place because we are updating the list. Now if we refresh, it's going back to the old list because we are updating it only here. So when we refresh, it's getting the list again from a brand new object. So we already have a save list function. We can pass the list it will update whatever wherever you want to update the list. It could be a database. You can call an API. In our case, we are calling the local storage set item. And if the item is set in subsequent call, instead of using this default list, we'll JSON parse this item from localhost. Now, if we refresh, the list is going to be the same. If you want to reset it, go to Applications, Local Storage, Inside, and delete the list. Now our database is clear. We can refresh and get the default list. And the thing, like if you drag something out of this droppable zone and re-release it, it comes back to the original area, and we see a problem here because our destination was undefined. We did not put it inside the zone. So we should only update this thing if there is a destination index. Okay, let's make this conditional. So actually not index, the whole destination object is being a null or something. Yeah, now it's working. So that's it. I'll put the GitHub repository link in the description. Bye-bye.